Hey there. Good morning, Facebook family. A little later than usual this morning. I was trying to get it a little lighter. So hopefully it's a little lighter. The view is a little better. Otherwise, it was kind of turning into a podcast as dark as it was getting outside. So this week we've talked a lot about this kind of idea of planning what you expect, actually taking action, right? Reflecting on the action, and then course correcting, right? And then just repeating it all over again. And I share it with you just because reflection time was something I didn't used to do. And it's been a massive pattern interrupt or shift or change in my life that's allowed me to accomplish a whole lot in a very, very, very short amount of time, because I'm actually looking at what was working and what didn't work, making a correction and moving forward, as opposed to just, the old adage of just put your head down and grind, right? So we talked about marketing, talked about sales. Good morning, Bob. Talked about sales, talked about marketing, talked about fulfillment yesterday. So today I want to speak briefly about leadership, and then I'll get into it a lot more tomorrow in regards to really a huge impact and a huge shift for me. So leading teams as a technician, right, going into a business owner role, managing and leading, those are two really foreign concepts. Like I remember being asked, do you know the difference? This was after it was all over. Do you know the difference between managing and leading? And that was a completely foreign concept to me 15 years ago, right? That there was actually a difference between managing and leading. And skill set wise and mindset wise, they're two completely different things. And they're absolutely a completely different thing than actually being a technician who is turning out the work, right? So the producer, if you will. So when we talk about actually setting an intent, right, doing the work, measuring the intention, and then course correcting as it pertains to leadership specifically, what kind of things are we talking about, right? So we're talking about things about setting clear expectations, doing that early on, whether it's at the hiring process. But it's easy to go in and set an expectation at the hiring process and then leave your person alone, right? If you're a small business owner, if you're leading a team, you're like, hey, I told them when they were hired, this is what was expected of them. But chances are things change, right? So you've got to constantly re-communicate what the expectations are, but then you actually have to go back and check and see if they're accomplishing those things. Good morning, Aaron. So if you're not following up, you're not identifying, are they on the right track or are they on the wrong track? It's really easy. I remember, it's really easy to give what I considered feedback. What mostly it was negative feedback, right? It was, hey, you're not doing this or you're not doing that. Or if you were like most folks I know I was really guilty about this, is they would not be doing what I thought I clearly communicated to them that they should be doing, right? You already see how mixed up that is. And I, as a business owner, would get really, really frustrated as a team leader, as a manager, get really, really frustrated inside about the fact that my team wasn't doing what I thought I clearly communicated for them to be doing, right? And then I would hold it for days or weeks on end and then eventually just blow up, right? And I'll talk more about that tomorrow. But being able to clearly lay out in black and white, right, exactly what the expectation is, what the intent is for a team lead, for a manager, completely different skill set than actually leading, all right? Managing, very tactical, very transactional, right, versus leading, which is something completely different. So, and I hope that we get into that tomorrow. But if you're not looking at that, if you're not setting that expectation, you're not measuring that, right? You're not having a conversation about, hey, here's where we are. These are the pieces we need to change in order to get back in alignment and to actually accomplish the goals that we set out to accomplish. You're never going to get there. You're going to be frustrated. Your team's going to be frustrated. And the thing about high performers are they like feedback, right? They like reward. And they like feedback. They want to know, are we off track or are we on track, right? They want to know how to measure things. If you think about people that are great in marketing and great in sales, they measure everything. Well, they do that and they're successful because they measure things and they make course corrections. So if you're not looking at data points and you're not measuring what you're doing from a marketing standpoint, from a sales standpoint, from a fulfillment standpoint, from a management standpoint, how the hell are you going to know if you're actually accomplishing what you set out to accomplish? You don't know. So you've got to measure it. You got to track it. You've got to look at where you are, and then you've got to be willing to course correct if you're not going the right direction sooner than later, right? For those of you that are listening that aren't necessarily owners or that don't feel like you're in a management or leadership position, let me share a secret with you. This was a huge impact for me, is your leadership, the people who are leading you, managing you, most of you kind of throw everybody in that bucket. Your managers, your leaders, the people that run the businesses that you're working inside of, they need your feedback as well. There is nothing worse than as a manager, as a leader, as an owner, to be heading a direction, feeling like you're clearly communicating an expectation, and you're not. You're not clearly communicating that message or that expectation. You feel frustrated, your team feels lost. Team members, communicate with your leadership. Let them know the things that they're not seeing. Let them know when they're not clearly communicating a message to you. Your leadership, team members, your leadership needs you as bad as you need them, right? So ask for meetings if you see something, right? Look at what you're doing and what you're not doing in regards to communicating with leadership. When it comes to your family, this is huge too, right? Leading is not just at work. Leading a family is what it's all about as a parent, right? So what things are you doing specifically that you can measure on a daily or a weekly basis? And I mentioned before, talking about pursuing your wife, talking about pursuing a relationship with your kids. You know what that looks like a lot for us? And I'll be honest with you, I've fallen off the last 3 weeks or so. I've been a little spotty on this. And it's probably why I'm feeling the tension at home, right? Because I had set an expectation and I'm not as consistent as it right now. Date nights. Date nights with your wife, date nights with your kids. And look, guys, we talked about this before. This doesn't have to be like this home run, hit it out of the park every time. Just spend quality time, right? Spending quality time with your wife, with your bride, wives that are on here, girlfriends that are on here, spending quality time with your man, right? Some of the biggest insights that I've ever gained came from my wife, allowing her the opportunity to speak into me. She sees things in me that I don't see, and I know that to be true about most men. Spending time with your kids, intentionally. I date my daughters. I love it. It's some of the best time that I have, but I have to be intentional about it. And I can measure that, right? Did I or did I not take them out? Yes or no? It's very easy. You don't have to get wrapped up in all the feelings and emotions about it, right? Did you do it or did you not? It comes down to the work, just like being at work. Leading your home is the exact same way. I just have you consider that. It's been true for me. I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm just telling you that it's an area that I screwed up for a very long time. I thought I gave all of myself during the day and I left nothing in the tank for when I got home, for the people that actually meant the most to me, for the people, the whole reason I got out of bed and went to work in the morning, right? For a long time, it was selfish. It wasn't really for them. I'd be lying to you if I said that it was. So, where are you at? What are you doing today to set expectations for your team, set expectations for your family, for your kiddos, for your wife? Where are you at? Morning, Connie. I just ask you, write it down. Like, if you can't identify how to get better and where you want to go, if you're not willing to look at where you currently are in your current reality. And sometimes that's hard. Like, it's hard. And write down where you think you are and then go ask your spouse. Hey, I think I'm doing really good here in this area of leading the family. Is that true? No, it's not. You're inconsistent. So, and it's the same way with your teams if you're willing to ask them the question, guys, gals, right? I love you guys. I'm grateful for those of you that are watching. I'm grateful for those of you that take in the contents. I get a ton of messages, private messages. I've had a lot of very impactful conversations with a lot of you already this week, especially around marketing and sales and how it pertains to your family. But I'll share with you, like leading teams of people, teaching leadership teaching people how to progress through the mind of being a technician to managing to leading, like that path was my path. I've learned a ton. Teaching that, helping people be successful in that transformation, the transformation of skill sets and mindsets and customer service, those two things, like that's what I get super, super emotional about, super drawn into. So if I can help in any way, send me a private message, give me a phone call. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know what's going on in your life, the things that you're struggling with, the things that maybe I could give you another perspective, the things that might be in your blind side. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Got a lot to share with you tomorrow morning. I know this morning was a little lengthy, but tomorrow morning I want to share with you why any of this stuff even matters for me in my life. Have a great day. It's Friday, but you can feel like this every day if you choose to. Take care, guys.